This is Juniper Song, a Forbidden Lands actual play podcast from Stories with Dice. If you're enjoying our actual plays, please subscribe to Stories with Dice so you'll never miss an episode. Don't forget to rate and review us. It really helps others discover the podcast. Follow us on social media to stay updated. You'll find the relevant links in the description of each episode.
Hey, Marco, how's things with you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. Ready for our first episode of Forbidden Lands.
I'm happy to being on this side of the virtual table.
Less sort of like, oh my god, what kind of plot line do I need to put together and how they're going to mess it up?
Yeah,
that's now for me.
Now I just show up and worry about one thing, my character. That's it.
Damn it, does that mean I have to do some work? Shit. Tony, nice to see you again.
Hello. Nice seeing you again.
It's like you're always around.
I know. I'm like a disease.
But it's disease. A sexy disease. I'm not
That's
sure how
very
that works.
sexy disease.
And we're also joined by Scott.
Hello.
Hi. You played in one of our other games, which we haven't released yet.
Everyone can hang on with trepidation for that.
Yeah. So nice to see you, Scott.
Great to be here.
I know we were going to be playing something slightly different to this, but just unfortunately things happened, things got changed around. So we very quickly have put together this fun-filled Forbidden Lands, which is what we're going to be playing. So if anyone doesn't know, Forbidden Lands is a game from Free League. It's been out for quite a while. It is based on the old 80s edition of games that was being played in Sweden. And it's got a bit of an old world kind of a vibe to it. So I'm not going to harp on. We're going to kind of start the game off. The players have already kind of sat down for a bit, put the characters together, so they've all kind of generated legends, they figured out how they met, which we'll discuss as we kind of go through the first or second session. Essentially, though, I'm just going to very briefly tell you where this is set, what the location is. So our intrepid band of adventurers here are all from the wonderful town of Juniper Song, which is a small village of just over 200 people. Primarily is a sheep farming village, and it's set in a lovely little nestled valley of rolling green hills, forests, about half a day's travel. It's bordered by a very large river. It's got mountains off to the west, and to the south and east, it's dark, impenetrable forest where some of the blood mist still lingers on. And so a lot of the people from Juniper Song don't really go too far into the forests, just around the outskirts, enough for timber and for hunting. And that's about it. The village is a lovely place. It is situated on an old road that was around from before the time of the Blood Mist. It runs through the middle of the town. And there's a lot of places where people commune and they kind of meet up once a week. Villagers bring fresh wool, baked goods, and cheeses to a market day where they kind of trade for various other things. Some coin is kind of like handed out here and there, but generally it is all sort of like a bartery sort of system. The current mayor, she has been around for a while and actually is serving her second or third term. Everyone's very friendly, everyone's very cordial. You haven't really seen any sort of strangers probably for over 100 years. And that's fine with everybody. They've not really had any kind of concerns or issues with anybody for such a long time. And they've just kind of, as if the world has kind of forgotten them.
So there's been a lot of inbreeding in Juniper Song.
Yeah, there's a lot of cousins in there. Yeah. Thanks.
And we set the tone early.
Yeah, there's a lovely place that you guys all kind of hang out, which is called the Woolen Hearth, which is a cozy sort of inn come tavern. There is another interesting place is the Stonewell Pastures, which is all the pastures that are around town, which all have ancient stones in, which you think, or at least the rumors are, come from an ancient civilization from before the Blood Mist time. You also have a very sacred space called the Whispering Circle, which is a grove of juniper trees just south of town, where locals share tales of spirits, prophecies, and mysteries of the land. The rumor is that there is a spirit that inhabits this circle and kind of is a protective, benevolent spirit that looks over the old village. Although the last time anyone has potentially seen or had any kind of dealings with a spirit was well over 150 years ago, when the rumors say that an old mayor noticed there was this rust kind of gathering amongst the flock, and the sheep were kind of going slightly wrong, and a large ritual was taking place to call forth the spirit of the Whispering Circle, and she then put things to right. And there's various different ways that story is being told, depending on how drunk the person telling it is in the bar is, and who that person is, and their station within the town. But generally, the town is a very lovely place, surrounded by farmland, and you've all grown up here. You've lived here pretty much all your life, and I think, I think you're all sort of in your 20s. So, yeah, you've pretty much lived here with your family. And it's a mixed match of people. There's all various races, or kin in this game, as they call it. And everyone's kind of treated equally. And I think that's where we'll probably start off. You guys are in the Woolen Hearth. Now, could you just do us a favor and give us a quick description of your character, what they kind of do for the village, and then we'll get on to your pastime that you will have as a group afterwards. So, Marco, let's start with you. Give us a description of your character and what you kind of do, the sorts of jobs you do around the village.
So I'm playing Gray. He's a wolfkin, which means he's a sort of wolf-like humanoid. He is a hunter. He also plays the drums in a local band called the Folk Vandals Club. So you can usually see him in the evenings at pubs and perhaps birthday parties, weddings, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's cool. There is definitely a festival to the juniper trees, which is quite a big festival once every year. And absolutely, you can play there. That's all good. Tony, who are you? And the same applies as to Marco.
Yeah, so we'll be playing Anduin Mossborn, which is a human druid, also born and raised in this town. I have green eyes, braided dark brown hair, with where I have kind of small pieces of bones and feathers, very wild-like. I'm dressed in green, and I have kind of necklaces that are made of bones and small pieces of stones that I find places. And I have kind of a knife, which I also use kind of like a scythe to get herbs. So I'm kind of the healer. I mean, perhaps I'm not the only healer in town. But I'm, if we are 200, let's say that there are 2 or 3 healers, so I'm one of the druids of the town. And, I like a lot birds and the sound they make, so I actually learned how to play the flute. And, I'm also part of the local band, the Folk Vandals Club, and the flute player, And there are many, I've met these other guys in different situations, but right now we are just a merry band of musicians.
Cool. Thank you, Tony. Scott, last but not least.
Beradon Trevere is a short, stands about 5'5", blonde-haired human, medium-length blonde hair, quite floppy, the kind of hair that swooshes in the wind or flicks back and forth when he nods his head too vigorously. By day, Beradon is a store member of the town's scribing guild. He works with the town's lore master, writing up legends, myths, all other kinds of wonderful things. By night, he is the creative influence, driving force, and rhythm lutist of the Folk Vandals Club.
Oh, I love it.
God, great.
He needs a mullet.
He's absolutely got a mullet.
Okay, good.
And an emo fringe.
That's amazing. Okay, well.
Party front and back.
Yeah, so I it's not a massive town. There's only 200 odd people in it. So 100% you guys are the entertainment for the town since you've come together to join this band. So you know quite a lot of people and they know you. Now, you don't really get paid in anything other than drinks and food, which suits you guys perfectly well. On occasion, you kind of get sort of discounted things at the general store and at the smithy. So if there's anything you need or you fixed or anything like that, you kind of generally get that, which is kind of helpful because your maybe aging parents or not aging parents also get the same kind of discounts. They're all very happy with that. The person that you speak to the most is a halfling who owns the inn, and her name is Scout Larkspur. She's known for being a notorious cheat at games, cards, and various other things. But she is very kind of opening, and as I said, the inn is well known for, funnily enough, lamb, but a very nice spiced cider that she makes, and she has like a little orchard at the back of the inn. And so you're all very happy to play for her very lovely spiced cider. I guess at what point, well, I think we kind of already have done this, but for the listeners, how did you guys meet? How have you all kind of come to be? I mean, I know you're all in your 20s, but how did you guys kind of get together initially? And then how did you all kind of get together and go, hey, let's join a band, let's create a band?
Well, we were probably drunk in the pub when we decided to join a band, start a band. That's usually how that works.
Yeah. Yep. The spice cider definitely hit the spot that evening. Yeah. And then prior to that, so how long have you known each other? You know, I mean, you've probably known each other all your life because you've all lived in this village. When did you start to really kind of get together as a group?
Yeah, I think we said that I met Peredon like 10 years or 8 years ago when he was still in his teens. We got into a fight. I think he probably was pestering me, me being like the oldest of all of them. I'm right now 27, so he probably was 17 and very annoying, having this Mistral attitude and, I'm so cool.
He was probably jealous of your good looks.
Exactly,
thick locks.
Precisely. And he was probably, just bothering me and pestering me, like following me. And at some point, I don't know, he probably took out something from me. I don't know, whatever, like a nice herb.
I figure I sort of pointed out that, wearing bone amulets is so last century.
Yeah, and I'm probably not, a very patient person. So I probably just started spanking him, because as he deserves, like a spoiled brat, and he probably didn't take it very well, eh? But,
the wound that was inflicted was to my dignity rather than to my person.
Precisely. But, we became friends.
Yeah, cool. And then you kind of end up meeting Gray. How did that kind of go?
I don't remember, actually. I know we discussed it, and it quickly left my brain.
The Mistral.
Gray was running away from a band of Rust Brothers, who are sort of the local big bad evil cultist guys who I'm sure we'll encounter a lot more of over the course of the next couple of years.
Might well do.
And Beradon and Alduin basically distracted them. Beradon played music for them and bewitched them all with his charm and wit, whilst Alduin snuck around the back, freed Gray and ran off into the woods with him.
Sounds about right.
And you're in debt of your life, so of course you had to join our band. And
exactly
all the spoils of the music are for us. I mean, you don't deserve anything after that. All the coins are for us. I think it's fair, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's nice to see we're already setting out the band dynamic.
Yeah, exactly. And then you also have, just because I want to keep my players alive just that little bit longer than normal, we also have an NPC by the name of Cassie. She is the group's fighter. She grew up on a farm, one of the farms, and that's pretty much how she got to be the tough person that she was. But she's always got a problem of getting into trouble with people. She doesn't really think first, she acts first, which is how she got into the predicament meeting you all. You all kind of found sort of like some rumors that there was a really cool place to go in the forest. There was sort of like potentially an old ruin, which turned out to be nothing more than an old mine, like a tin mine. But you ended up getting into trouble and you all managed to save Cassie from a collapsing roof. But in the process of doing that, you did actually manage to find some treasure, an old golden sort of plate, which you kind of ended up taking back to town, sharing the ill-gotten gains from that. And very quickly, you ended up getting a friend. She was more than happy to do that. She generally tends to get into a lot of trouble. I think we said that in the band, she's got the tambourine because she has no other skill to do anything else. Not that I'm saying that people with tambourines don't have any skill, but she definitely doesn't. She can just about keep everything in sort of like order when she's kind of playing it, but generally she's not that great.
I think she's perhaps the one using the tambourine just to get, the coins. She probably goes around, just banging it and, asking for the money, and she's kind of a strong woman. So perhaps
she is
intimidated by her looks, and there you go. Here are the coins.
Yeah.
Take it.
She carries she's our roadie too, when we go on the road.
She does carry a lot of the stuff. When you've been out and about,
gear,
you tend to go, let's just load her up with all the stuff. And
I'm sure the masses of tambourine players that make up our listenership will write in their droves to tell us how wrong you are, Ed. Just how wrong you are.
Having been given the triangle when I was at school, I think that pretty much says everything about my musical talent.
Well, I have to say that I used to play the tambourine.
There we go, Tony.
Just saying.
So you're one up above. You're one up above. Okay.
I needed the money. I just needed the money. Don't judge me.
Because there's a lot of money to be made in tambourine
playing. I mean, as listening to this, forget about your whole idea of becoming like a rock star. Tambourining is where it's at.
It's a lucrative profession.
Not many people go into it. Stick with that.
It pays more than RPG podcasting.
That's right, it does. That's right.
Yeah, that's true. Well, in that case, I think people should subscribe and give us loads of money, and then Marco can have his boat, and I can kind of, pay for my house.
Yeah, it's the moment you can talk about your Patreon.
Yeah, that's true. Back to the game. So yes, you are all having spent another evening singing for your supper, I guess is the best way to describe it. And over a few beers, or in this case, a few ciders, maybe the odd bit of juniper gin, not a good combination, you found out on many an evening. You've kind of come up with a plan to do something, to get out of this town. If only we had Journey, we could play that in the background. What's the plan? I mean, I'm more than happy for you guys to spend the rest of the entire campaign here in town. That's cool. Hex crawling, not so much.
With all of our first and second cousins?
Yeah, that's exactly it, yeah.
Well, there's 200 people in this town, right?
About that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we need more people. We need to become popular. Everyone needs to talk about us in the Forbidden Lands. Is that right?
Yeah, it's for you guys, it's called the Ravenlands.
I'm sorry.
What it's called in the area. But so, who wants to have the map of the Ravenlands that you've got as a player handout, which is the section sort of around your town, I guess, if you were to sort of guess.
I think I'm the one that probably understands the best, nature, or is perhaps Gray, who knows best.
And this is the first time we're going to be anyone has been able to travel farther than a day away from Juniper's Song, right?
Pretty much. So the area that I've given you on the Forbidden Lands map is pretty much half a day's travel there, half a day's travel back. And that's pretty much where it's pretty much been. It's been about 3 years since the lifting of the mist had gone further afield, that was away from that for distance. And so that's as far as you've got. No one's really kind of gone further than that just because they're not really sure how far it is. And no one has been stupid enough or courageous enough to do that and go further. I mean, the town itself doesn't really have a long-standing militia. Everyone kind of mucks in for that sort of thing. So I guess you guys are the closest thing to adventurers. Most people are farmers and shepherds, that kind of thing. You guys have kind of distinguished yourself by forming a band and being quite adventurous in and around the area. So I guess it would fall to yourselves to do that.
Part of me kind of likes the idea that one of the first visitors to our town after the mists lifted. It's sort of causing a massive hubbub because it's the first non-resident we've seen in over 100 years. Hints to us that there is music in other towns.
Yep.
In insert general direction here. So maybe we go, like I said, like I sort of suggested in the prelude, with the idea of going for a battle of the bands, or at least to put together a concert with other musicians.
Yeah. See what else is out there.
We need to test our might.
Lay the foundations for Juniper Stock.
Exactly.
Juniper Stock. I love that.
So I think we probably are, after one of our best performances in town, we have been drinking a bit and, I was, perhaps smoking some of the herbs that I pick up during the day. We're kind of this, bassy moment, and we're like, yeah, we need to test ourselves and find, where all these other bands are. And, we need to show them that we are the best, and I'm kind of bragging about that I'm the best flute player, and, that Cass is in love with me and not with Peredon because I'm the sexiest one in the band, whatnot. And Cass is probably just, there's this love triangle going on.
Cass is looking at you kind of going, really? That's just all to me.
Anduin, what instrument do you play? Anduin, Tony?
I'm playing the flute, of course.
The flute, yeah. Nobody goes for the flute player. They go for the lute player.
It's the lutenist.
It's the lute player and or the vocalist. You and I get second pickings.
When they're both the same person, it's just one.
Exactly.
It's an easy decision.
Cass likes her men sort of hard working on the farm, likes, proper 6'3", sandy blonde, kind of well tanned men,
Well, I'm done. I go pick up herbs, every day, and I'm digging around, and I'm getting all dirty, and, I have muscles, I kind of show up my muscles. Look at that. I mean, come on.
What about
Picking stuff.
really
Look at what
furry
I've done.
wolf
He
then?
hasn't done anything. You're too hairy, man. Great, you're too hairy.
Yeah, she's not into wolves, I'm afraid. Sorry. But, she's definitely very friendly with you all, but I'm afraid it might not be. Oh, well, who knows? We've got many sessions ahead of us, and if you survive, who knows? You might be able to show how good you are in the wilderness, and she might, fall for you.
Or we all get horribly murdered by all kinds of horrible, nasty creatures, and she comes back and marries the guy in the farm anyway.
Yeah. So Kepsi's basically got that map, and she's kind of looking at it. And on the map, you can see further away, you've got mountains to the west. Past there's a place called Whaler's Hold. You've got a river, again, further to the west, called the Wash. And it looks like a location called Moldina. You have a tower, it looks like. And on the far edge of this, torn map, there appears to be some other kind of forests. To the north, you've got this large river. And ahead of that, you've got more sort of plains, and it looks like a large base called Felenda that says on the map. And there's a lake called Lake Tin. And then sort of to the east, you've got a lot of plains, a thing called Backwater Bay, a place called Yendra to the south east, and to the northeast, you've got a place called Morgelda, according to the maps that you've got. And then further south, you've got a very large piece of mountainous region surrounded by what they call the Shroud, which is the Shroud Forest, is what you've called it. And then again, there's a large river and mountains that are sort of to the south that kind of go through. So looking at this map, there's a load of places to go. Clearly there's some towns marked on there. So
I like the look of that building on to the north. I mean, it doesn't look very big, but not small either, and not very far away. Perhaps there is a place for us there.
It looks like we can maybe go and check that out and see what that is, and then sort of, rather than going through the mountains, which is obviously going to be a horrific idea for a band of very, very unfit misfits, we could go around the top and maybe come down to Whaler's Hole that looks like some kind of city, maybe?
Yeah.
Thalender looks a bit too ruined to be any fun.
Sounds like a good name for a band, Whaler's Hold. we might find some competition there.
Yep, that sounds like a great plan.
Yeah, but I think it's a good proposition. I don't know how far away is that building or housing. Perhaps 3-4 days north.
You know that river is about half a day away. So that would be just over half a day if you can find a way to cross the river.
And we've never been there.
You've just never got that far. You've seen the river in the distance, but you've never got towards the river.
So let's say it's maximum 2 days that we're going to be away. We can go and back and to check it out. I mean, perhaps we are all drunk and, as I said, smoking nice stuff. And perhaps we said, why not? Let's do it tomorrow morning. If we wake up and we are not hurting everywhere, let's do it. I mean,
let's do it.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Sounds like a plan. We take our rations, our water.
Have a knife and a lute. What else do I need to face the wilderness?
Nothing more, obviously.
And the company of good friends.
Yes, and the music. You can be playing the flute. I will be playing the flute, perhaps, or we walk.
I mean, I don't think anyone has any sort of animals to ride. Yeah, I mean,
we walk.
There are horses here, but I mean, the horses are generally used for the farm rather than, the farm that you have. They're not really riding horses. But, as I said, it's, not that far away.
They're quite tasty.
Thankfully, obviously Gray has helped himself to a horse now and then. I wonder where that horse went to. Just ran into the forest. I'll go get it. Couldn't find it. Sorry.
It's gone.
I think I'm going to take a nap now.
Right. Okay. So the plan is to sell first thing in the morning, I'm guessing?
Yes. Well, after depending how we feel, we are young, but, I still get the headaches in the morning. I'm 27.
Yeah, you're so old. I mean...
I'm so old. I didn't drink enough water, and yeah, there you go.
Well, okay. So, I guess the query then we have is, the game of Forbidden Lands is about hex crawling. It's about going from one place to another. And to do that, everyone has sort of like a designated thing they do for the party when the party is traveling. And that's hiking, making camp, foraging, leading the way, hunting, keeping watch. Only one person can lead the way. And I would say the best person with survival is the best person to lead the way. Obviously, you guys can determine who that is.
I have survival of 2. What about you, Gray?
My survival skill is a 1, but my wits is a 5.
There is also a position to keep watch, which is basically spotting for bad guys and obviously making sure there's nothing coming ahead or that kind of thing.
I would say perhaps
And that
Gray should
requires
keep watch.
scouting.
Yeah.
That's the kind of like, popping around, keeping ahead of the group, taking point, making sure things are sort of okay, that kind of thing.
Yeah, since I'm the leader of this band, I think I should be leading the way.
I think as the lead singer of this band, I bring certain qualities that maybe mean that I shouldn't be doing this. Those certain qualities being my scouting and survival of 0.
So I'm guessing you're just going to be like walking along for the ride, essentially.
I'm collecting inspiration as we walk.
I mean, as the principal songwriter, it makes sense.
I'm transcending the material realm and living in the spiritual whilst we stroll.
And yeah, I think you're with Cassie. Cassie isn't really doing a huge much of anything, just kind of like hanging along. That makes sense. Cool.
Being both strong and pretty.
He's starting to write a song called Material Boy. Living in a material world.
I like that. Yeah, that's cool. Just make sure that we're not going to get sued by anyone. No, we're fine. The way travel works, if you've listened to our Mutant Year Zero game, it works very similar to that. So you kind of end up going through hexes or zones. And every time you go into a new hex or zone, you get to make some rolls to determine what you find, what you see. Is there anything going on? Is there anything random happening? But before we do all that, what time of year is it? What's the season?
Spring.
Spring sounds like a plan. I like spring. Spring indeed has sprung.
Yeah, it's
Just
the
so I
moment
can
of
kind
the lovers. You get in love.
Yeah, there's, all there's a lot of lambing happening.
Yeah.
It's all just, it's all a very busy time.
All the cats in the village are in heat.
They're all meowing and screaming in the middle of the morning and night.
Best moment.
It's the closest thing we have to competition.
I love it. Well, I guess so. Tony.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult. You have a map, so you're going to get a bonus to this. You also know the area because you've been in this sort of area before. So if you could please make a lead the way roll, which is your survival, you can add +2 to that.
To what? To the modifier, I guess.
Yeah, so you'll get an extra 2 dice, basically.
Okay. So I have a wits of
just
4, survival of 2, and 2 modifier. So that should be as 8.
Excellent. That's a success. I think it's 1 6.
I only got 1 success.
Only 1 success. All you need is 6. That's all you need.
There's another song for you. All you need is 6.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that it is a very pleasant morning when you set out. It's slightly chilly in the morning. There's a little bit of mist kind of like hanging around the lower parts of the little dips of the little valleys that you're in. But you walk with lots of, confidence and vigor as you kind of like make your way out, knowing that you're going to find and discover wonderful things. The weather continues to stay nice as you make your way through the plains. And you know what? You kind of go past a couple of like early shepherds who are trying to bring in some of their flock that stayed out overnight. They're just rounding it up, just checking for sort of lambs, that kind of thing that might have been born out in the fields. They give you a nice wave. You probably know a couple of them by name, and you continue on, heading north along the plains. The plains are very, very green and field swept. Lots of low growing shrubs and flowers that are poking through in the spring. There's multiple small springs and little tiny like waterfalls. I mean, they're like probably no more than a foot, which kind of like crisscross the north end of this plain as you make your way towards that rushing river ahead of you.
What's the general sort of response of people that see us leaving and heading north? Is it the done things? People go, oh, they're just heading north, or they go, why are they heading north?
No.
There's a river up there.
People do kind of wander off. They might go hunting. They might off to kind of like trap things. The river to sort of like the northwest, people have gone there to sort of like fish and do things like that. So yeah, I mean, it's not unheard of.
But you bring up a good point. I mean, as the only band in town, we should have probably announced that we are leaving for a tour, and we didn't do it. I mean, I feel that we missed something very important by not announcing it. I mean, I don't know. Don't you think you should have said something, before we leave?
The fact that you were walking thinking about this after the fact that you should have done it.
I think we are like, shoot.
Didn't we have like a hometown show the night before? That's why we got drunk afterwards?
Yeah, but we decided that we were leaving during the drunkenness, and we just left in the morning without announcing it to anybody, so that we were going on tour. I think we just missed our first opportunity. We are a failure as a band.
Welcome to Forbidden Lands.
Well, anyhow, we're coming back.
This is just the
Yeah, we're free spirits, man.
Yeah, well, this is just a trial. We are coming back, okay? We are coming back.
But are we
That's
the
what they keep
first?
saying.
Are we the first people to like go more than a day away from the village?
There are a couple of rumors that sort of like, old Jeremiah did that sort of like into the woods, went further than anyone else, that kind of thing.
But he never came back.
No, he came back and just said, it was a little bit crazy. It was all dark and, but he's never been quite the same since, that kind of thing. But no, generally people have kind of like stuck to the rule of not going any further because it just, no one's kind of like pushed the envelope yet. And you are the first people doing it.
That's what you need young people for.
Making you adventurers.
Pushing the envelope.
Okay. Well, you kind of get sort of like to sort of midday-ish, and the sun is actually quite nice. It's a pleasant day. It's not cold anymore. There's a few fluffy clouds in the sky, but not a huge amount. And as you get closer, you can hear the sound of the river. As you get closer again, the river sort of becomes a massive torrent. And as you get closer, even closer to that, you can see that this river is probably, I don't know, maybe 300 meters from one side to the other. It's a big river and it's fast flowing. There's rocks in some of it, but most of it, the water is quite high and it's just skimming over the rocks. Okay. What's the plan?
Can we make a raft?
Can you make a raft? Well, so there are sort of like small shrubs and various things around.
Shrubs aren't going to make us a raft. Should we try to scout along the river to see if we can find a crossing?
Was just wondering first, do we see this house? Or this
you don't see anything.
Abbey? So we don't see this building that we were heading to?
No, you don't see anything in that direction.
What does the opposite bank look like? Is it sort of rocky?
Much the same as this side. So it is plains, and as it kind of gets into sort of like the river, it kind of gets a bit more rocky, but it's quite a bit of a drop. It's sort of like it's a mud bank, rock and mud, and then it's straight into the river.
And what about the road? I thought that the road that was in the middle of our town was going north. Where is it?
Kind of heads, as soon as it kind of like comes up here, it heads going northeast.
So perhaps we should follow the road and see if there is a bridge.
See if it comes to a bridge.
Just like a band stealing the drummer's idea.
That was not exactly what you said.
Is the movement system, from my knowledge more than anything else, is the movement system in Forbidden Lands similar to Dragonbane, where it's shifts, stretches, or is it?
Yes, exactly. It's the same. It's the same. So it's set chunks that you have. So it's kind of divided into four shifts. And so you're in spring. So you've got morning, which is light, daytime, which is light. So you can travel both of those fairly well. And you can go a hex per one. In fact, you could probably do 2 hexes. So 1 there and 1 back. So you can do in a day 2 hexes unless you want to push it. So you could get to the next hex and that's where you would be,
Yeah.
For the next thing. So you could go really fast, but you haven't really been doing that. So
nah, we're just chatting and having fun. So we only did 1.
You've only done 1, so you could do the next one, which will still take you further, which is fine.
Shall we vote? I mean, I would say yes. I mean, as leader of the band.
I think we should follow the road for a little bit along the river, see if we find a bridge or something else. If not, then yeah, let's put our renowned boat building capability to good use.
Well, at first we may camp. I mean, I don't think we are crossing this river at night. I think that means that we are spending the first night out of town. I mean, I'm okay with it, but I don't know about you guys. I mean, I'm okay sleeping on the floor. I don't know about you, Beredan. I mean, I don't know if you're used to do this, right? And I'm looking at Cass. I'm fine sleeping on the floor, hard floor. And I'm a real, yeah.
He says, I've slept on the floor lots of times, usually after I'm drunk.
Yeah, but Beredan, no, the important part here is that Beredan perhaps cannot sleep on the floor, This is the important part.
Yeah. Well, she looks at Beredan.
I'm absolutely fine to sleep on the floor. I can rough it with the best of them. I do it. I also, too, do the sleeping all the time on the floor. Always.
Tony, could you make another lead the way roll? And Scott, can you please make a scouting roll?
It's not the Scott, the scouter. No, it's Grey.
Sorry, Grey. Sorry, Grey. Sorry, my brain just went like, what? It's because I was looking at him.
Yeah, the Scott is just looking to the water.
He's
I mean,
I'm amazed that I still have shoes.
Can I still have the +2?
No, you can have a +1 for the map.
Okay. So I'm rolling that.
You can make a roll for yourself.
I got
Success.
a success and a Scott. I don't know what that means.
So if you wanted to push it,
yes,
you could push your roll, and every skull you have, it gives you damage, but also it gives you willpower.
Very good. So we both pass.
Yeah, I have 1 success.
Cool. Excellent. Well, let's see how that gets on. So you continue on pushing sort of like northeast, hoping to kind of catch up with the road. The weather stays very pleasant. Again, very, very nice day. The wind does start to pick up a little bit as you kind of like head a bit further north, but it's actually quite a nice breeze that kind of like, you've been traveling sort of like for the good part of the morning. You've not really been kind of like pushing yourselves. You've been sort of like taking the time. So it's actually quite nice on your skin to kind of have that as you're hiking. And as you're sort of like walking through, you can see that there was at one point an old growth of trees that had coppiced. You're from a farming village. You will kind of know that people sort of like coppice trees to kind of cut them back so that new plant grows, and they use that new plant in various different ways. And you can see that that's been done, but you know that it has definitely not been done by you guys.
Do we see anything around? I mean,
well, I'll tell you that when we get some rolls. Again, most of it is open plains, and you notice that as you're getting closer that there is a road which is heading northeast up towards the river, which you kind of cross, and you actually hit the coppice of trees which are nearby to the road. So clearly that someone's obviously been using or doing something with the road, coming here, doing whatever they're doing. Yeah, other than the breeze, there doesn't appear to be anyone around, and it looks like, tell you what you could do. Could you please, who are we going to have it? Yeah, well, you got a success, Grey. So the trees that have been coppiced and have been used, you kind of have a bit of a scout around the area to see who could have possibly used it and how long ago. And you realise that it probably has been no later than a couple of weeks ago, or sorry, no sooner than a couple of weeks ago. So that's when you reckon someone would have coppiced these trees, or at least used the area to do whatever they were doing in. You kind of look at sort of like the resin that's on the trees and the grass that's kind of like been stamped down. It's all been kind of like been regrowing, so it's obviously been a little while since it's been used, but this is definitely not a set of trees that you guys in your town would have coppiced. So someone has obviously been here to do that. And you've kind of like looked around and you can see that while it's not recent, there has been some sign of someone using the sort of like gravelly sort of road.
Do I see any tracks at all?
Can you make a survival roll for that?
Any modifier?
No modifier, just a straight survival roll. Okay.
I have one success.
One success. Okay. Yeah, you can see that there is actually a couple of ruts from what looks like maybe a two-wheeled cart that you find just barely in the road. It's been a while, but you can see that someone's actually come here with that. You don't really know, you don't have enough information. It's been a while since it's been here to tell you anything else. And all the sort of like footsteps and stuff would have like, it's just too long ago for that to have like stayed around. But clearly something was obviously put into the cart.
And like, can I tell if it's going what direction it was going in?
No.
Okay.
No, you can't tell the direction. You definitely couldn't see any hoof prints from like a horse or anything. So you probably assume that either it's too long ago or it was a hand cart, perhaps that would have been used.
Someone's been here recently, but how long ago is hard to tell. There was someone here with a cart. I'm not sure what direction they went in.
Yeah, we don't know anything about a farm or a house nearby, right?
They must be within at least a day's travel of this location.
This is perhaps good news.
Or it could be really bad news.
What do you mean? We might be a crossing nearby. I mean, somebody who is preparing the trees cannot be a bad person. I mean, a druid knows this. You know, you must have a good heart if you're taking care of the trees. I mean, an orc wouldn't be cutting the trees.
There's no sign that sort of what this has been is very much repairing and regenerating, not, chopping them down and floating them down the river for lumber.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, that means business. There's a farm nearby where we can sing and spend the night.
Perhaps there's a bridge up ahead.
Exactly.
Well, let's keep on going. I'll bring up a valiant rear guard, and everyone else can go in front.
Sing us a song, will you?
As we walk, I will unsling my lute, and I will play a stirring rendition that, had I had more than 7 minutes to prepare for this game, I would have probably used AI to generate. No, because Berador might be a musical prodigy. Scott has the musical talent of your average housebreak.
Well, come on, Chris Bryan, why don't you make a performing role?
Let's do it. Right. Where is my perform skill?
Let's see if you're useful.
So I have got So just again, because first time with this system, I add my wits, I add my perform, and I roll that many d6.
Yep.
Check.
Perhaps a gear. You have a gear, no? I think you can use the gear.
You can use your loot. Yeah, so you can use your loot if it's on there, which will give you a +1 to that.
8 dice. Modifier 1 from gear, and then hit roll.
So in the game, just for people who's listening, you've got different coloured dice. And so the way that works is you've got your stat dice, which is your empathy. So you've got 4d6, they're white. You've got skill dice, which is your performance, which is red. And then you've got gear dice, which is black. If for any particular reason you come up with any ones on your stat or your gear, if you would choose to push the roll, so if you thought, I wanted a better roll, you could choose to push it. It would give you a point of willpower. But every one you have on your stat will give you damage to the stat you've used. If you get a 1 on your gear dice, it breaks your gear. So if your gear has given you one item, so 1 dice, if you got a 1 on the gear, it breaks. So then you have to repair it. So you can't use it until you've got it repaired. So in this case, you're fine. If you were to push that roll and you got no other successes, you would have taken 1 damage to your empathy.
You should definitely push it because, I'm very busy leading the way, but I'm laughing my ass off. It's like, what is this going on? I mean, Veredon, seriously, and, if I take out my flute, I could be, I'm too busy, but if not, I could be best singer here.
As anyone who listened to Dragon Bay will know, I have a habit of putting together characters who are particularly strong at one certain thing. And then every time I roll that thing, utterly failing to achieve what I want to achieve in it. So I am absolutely going to push it.
There we go.
My God.
So, okay, cool. So you can take 2 damage to your empathy and you break your lyre.
I'm really, right now, I'm doing, I just stop. I turn around, I start laughing in the middle of the road. I
rolled
my ass
so
off.
hard last night that I've clearly worn all the strings out on my lute.
The strings break, gone, and you hear something, one of the little, Marco, help me out, I'm not musical, the little
tuning pegs,
thank you very much, snaps and breaks and flies off. You're like, son of a... In fact, you're so upset, this is the way you kind of get the damage to your empathy, that you start like cursing and shouting, you're like, God damn it! And you whack the lute into the ground or your leg, and then you hear you're like, oh, fuck.
If I'm doing it and I'm taking 2 empathy damage, I am full on guitar smashing that thing against a rock. It's like it's like watching an AC/DC concert.
I think the proper curse for a village of our size that hasn't seen a stranger in over 200 years is son of a first cousin.
I love it. Yeah, welcome to Forbidden Lands, everyone. It can only get worse from here.
We are doomed already.
So,
we lost our lead singer, and
It's all right. I also have a lyre, so
That's good.
I'll switch to my next instrument. But so how do I recover empathy or repair my gear? I'm assuming there's a way.
You need to rest, and each one of your stats is a different way to recover things. You essentially just need to recover and kind of like chat to everyone, calm the hell down, and just sort of, chill out, which you'll need a bit of time to do, which isn't while you're sort of like stropping, hiking along the path doing that. So you'll have to have a bit of a wait, and then you'll be able to do it.
Art imitating life.
I think it's the proper time perhaps to make camp, because we are not going anywhere. And in any case, Beredon is, just in a tantrum, like a baby, like a spoiled brat,
Massively.
Massively. So I don't think we should be going anywhere. I mean, the troop is doomed at this moment. We need to recover.
I'm just
already.
Beredor sort of sat there contemplating using his broken lute strings as a garrote wire whilst Anduin's asleep.
Love it. Yeah, so you kind of follow the path or the road as it winds its way, still going sort of a northeastward path, and then it turns north, heading towards the river. Again, you follow the sort of like path as it hits the river, and as you get closer, you can see that the path heads towards a bridge. And it's a large stone bridge, probably 100 meters wide. It's a huge bridge. It looks like an old bridge. And as you kind of get closer, you can see it kind of arches over.
Well, there you go. So I was right.
Yeah.
Your fabulous
absolutely.
leader took you to success.
I was right. You stole my idea.
Typical flautist.
The musical community's going to hate us. So you kind of make your way towards this really spectacular bridge. I mean, it's massive. It's huge. It's like, you can see that there's various things on the bridge, like it looks like statues and various other things. As you get closer, you kind of follow the actual road. Your heart sinks. The middle of the bridge is missing maybe 150 meters of its span. It looks like it's all sunk into the river. You can see sort of like vaguely a foot of a couple of arches, but the majority of it is in the center is gone. But as you get closer, you do see that there is what looks like a large set of ropes, which have basically been set up at the base of the bridge. And on the other side of the river, you can see a large sort of raft, which is attached to the ropes that kind of come across. And it
People
looks like
basically come back and forth. That's a cart with the car fitting.
Yes,
raft. Okay.
It's large. You reckon you could probably get an actual large cart on it. Whether it would take horses, it's debatable. Currently, it's on the other side of the river, and it's being knocked around by the river's flow as it's kind of like on what looks like maybe a jetty or something, but it's about 250 meters on the other side of the river.
Okay, so I would say that perhaps I don't know if we should be crossing the river today, no? We cannot probably cross today.
You could do. I mean, it's like early afternoon. It's just gone sort of like.
I would say
like 1 or 2 o'clock.
Yeah, being the first outing we've done, I would say perhaps it's wise to rest, take camp, recover, and then we do this tomorrow morning.
Definitely, you could probably set up camp in one of the arches on this side of the river, so that will cover you from the rain and that kind of thing.
That's what I'm thinking. If everyone agrees, that's what I would propose, to cross tomorrow and just take it easy.
Well,
That makes sense.
I just have one question about the description.
Yeah.
The rope that's tied
Yes.
to the rafts.
Yep.
Where's the other end tied to?
It looks like it's going really close to the base of the bridge, and you can see the rope goes from one side of the bridge to the other side of the bridge at the bases of them, and you can see that it looks like it's been staked in quite strongly on this side and the other side.
Okay.
And it looks like there's some kind of ropey type system but you can't really tell because it's like 250 meters away. That's attaching to the other side of the bank, but you don't see a way of pulling it across this way.
Okay.
So I have a quartermaster talent, so I will be the best one to prepare. I'm more used to be outside and to spend nights in the forest, perhaps as the others. And I have flint steel, which I can use to set up a small fire or campfire. So if you're okay with that, I will just perhaps...
Do you have any wood?
I will ask one of these, Scott, Beredon or Gray or Cass to find me some. And I will just indicate and bring me the stuff.
Okay, well, we've got rules for that.
Okay.
So that's fine.
So can I roll?
Beredon ignores you completely because he's too busy trying to repair the shattered pieces of his loot.
That's all right. That gives me more time to chat with Cass. Cass, it's our first night out here. I can make a nice campfire, bring me very nice wood, and, we can have a chat together, under the stars.
We know who the Julian Bashir of the group is.
She says, okay, well, that's nice, I guess. Did you need me to do anything?
Get me wood.
I'm going to find you some... She kind of like, I'll get you some wood. And she looks sort of raises her eyebrow at you. And says, all right, I'll go see if I can rustle something up.
This is a family show.
This is definitely not a family show.
No, it isn't. I'll ask Cass, as she leaves to go rustle up some wood for Anduin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's okay, Marco. It's okay.
Fuck you, Tony.
At least nobody's making wood for sheep jokes.
Not yet.
I will ask her if Anduin is bothering her.
No, it's fine.
Okay, and then I'll just say, if he can be a little creepy, if you feel uncomfortable, just let Beredin or I know, and we'll take him out back and pound some sense into him.
Just as what you saying, I can't?
No, not at all. Of course you can. We'll hold him down for you. How about that?
I like that sound. That's much better, she says.
I just want to make sure I'm there to watch.
So she goes wandering off. Is anyone going to join her? Or are you happy to let her go do something? So now that you're going to...
I'll go with her.
And I stay with Beredon preparing the camp.
Well, I tell you what.
Split the party.
It's always good to split the pie. It's one of my favourite things to do. Nothing bad ever comes of splitting the pie, right? So
no.
We are half a day away from our town. What is going to happen?
Okay, well, they're going to go out looking for some wood. Could you please...
Yes.
Make a survival roll. You can have an extra dice because you are with Cassie. I just need one success just to basically rustle up enough sort of like tinder and wood to kind of like keep a fire going for a bit.
So do I put the extra die in the modifier box?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll just give you the extra. And should give you an extra skill.
There you go. Okay. Good job.
I have one success.
Okay, cool. So what it means, it just means that they're going to go out, they're going to go basically rummaging around looking for basically wood, and it's not, they're plains and stuff, so it's all going to be the scrub wood and stuff. Gray and Cassie's going to have to like load up a bunch of arms of stuff and put them in their rucksack and all the rest of it and then come back. So that's what they're going to do. Meanwhile, back at camp, Beredon and Anduin are going to do what?
Beredon is repairing his loop.
Yeah, and I'm making camp. I don't know what that entails. Perhaps looking for the best spot to sleep. Making a space, preparing the campfire with rocks, like the good Boy Scout. And,
Cool.
I'm waiting for them to bring me the timber so I can put the fire on and get warm and cozy.
Well, can you please make a...
Make camp?
Making camp?
Can I use
your bonus from Quartermaster, I think, is one of your talents.
And can I use my flint and steel too?
Absolutely, you can have that. That's fine.
There you go. And nothing else, because I'm guessing
I think that's more than enough, kind sir.
Oh, no. I'm always... there you go. One success.
Oh, there we go. That's cool. For a second there, I thought there was going to be nothing. You kind of set it up in the lee. You make sure that you're going to be out of the rain should it rain. You make sure that you're high enough so if the river does rise, you're not going to be like swamped in the middle of the night. You do everything you're supposed to do. It turns out that this is something you do regularly. I'm guessing as a druid when you're out and about. So that's all good. While you're doing that, Gray and Cassie come back hauling a bunch of wood and sticks and various things. So you could actually have like a warm fire this evening if you need to.
Very sorry,
Meanwhile-
Anduin. The wood isn't very big, but it'll do the job.
Yeah, thank you. I will take it now. Thank you so much.
It looks like a fairly limp piece of wood.
You know, we're teenagers. We're young adults.
Definitely feeling that way today.
You know,
Right.
we're back to high school playing role-playing
know.
games.
It's a bit like that. Well, this is how it's supposed to be. Scott, what's Benningen's crafting skill like?
So Berador is actually fairly adept at repairing loot. Given that there aren't many luthiers in Juniper Song, this loot has probably been handed down through about 9 different generations of lootanists in the village, and
Okay.
everyone sort of makes their own repairs to it. So he is relatively adept at it, to the point where if I were to roll a dice, I might not fail. Huzzah!
There you go.
Congratulations. So you need a roll to succeed, and you've got sort of like, some woodworking, sort of like,
Little,
I think you kind of,
files
You- and you obviously have like
Balls.
spare strings and various other things you can do. So when they come back with the piece of wood, you find a decent size that can kind of like make do. You do. In fact, you repair it. So it means that you go back to having your 1 bonus from your loot.
I think one of our quests should be to find the mythical instruments, right? I mean, I think you need a proper loot. I mean, we cannot stand by this, It's very old stuff.
One of the cool things I like about the system in the character is that it gives you a little legend that your character is aware of. Berador has been told in the past that a dwarf named Stein Bruton lost a unique scroll in a dark forest to the south, which I kind of am envisaging as being sort of the lost score for an epic rock song.
I like that. Yep.
It's not the greatest song in the world, but it could
it's
be a
good.
tribute to it.
Like it. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you can envision the sort of like the group now, kind of like, the fire's going, you've kind of like set up your camp, you're sitting down, Beradon's kind of like making sure that the loot is kind of like fixed and repaired. It takes a little bit of time, which kind of takes you into the evening, which is lovely. And you kind of settle in to this really nice kind of like evening shift. Who is going to be in watch overnight? So I mean, just for sort of like the game mechanics, they pick one person who's on watch. I mean, you can, if you want to, take it in turns, but it just means that you're not going to get enough sleep to kind of repair damage, that kind of stuff.
I can do it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The drummer must do it.
The drummer must do it.
So the rules say that you must sleep 1 shift during the course of a whole day. And it could be that, Gray kind of like sits by the fire after he's had his food and kind of like drifts off for that evening shift. So when it starts to get night, you kind of wake him up and then...
Berador will take the first shift. Whilst everyone's resting after dinner, he's just sat there, maybe goes up onto the ruins of the bridge, sits overlooking the top so you can see what's coming, and just plucks away, makes sure his newly restrung loot is working, is doing what it needs to do, brings it back into tune.
Why don't you make a scouting roll for me?
Because I don't have any scouting skill.
Excellent.
That's
We
why
like
I won't
that.
make it. I've got reasonable wits, actually.
Also, remember, you should rest if you want to recover empathy, though.
Well, I fail to scout because,
Cool.
as always, my ability to roll d6s is non-existent.
That's cool. Right, well, it's all fine.
You fell asleep.
Yeah, you basically go for a bit of a nap. It's just been a bit of a day, right? And you kind of like, you nod off and wake up sort of like as it's getting just dark and you're like, oh, right, okay, I'll go back down and,
Glad nobody saw that.
Yeah, and then Gray kind of wakes up in the middle of the night and is woken up by Berador kind of like saying he's done his watch, you can do yours. And you sort of drift off to sleep, Berador. Anduin's already probably having a bit of a snooze. Cassie is kind of laid out, sort of slowly humming as soon as she kind of like falls to sleep, leaving just you, Gray, the dying embers of the light, because you don't have enough would to last the entire evening, but your eyes adjust to the darkness, and it's not really an overcast night, so as the moon comes out, and so you can actually see fairly well in the local area, and you kind of almost want to drift off because you've got the sound of the rushing river going below you, the sort of like crack of some of the sort of like the old bridge sort of above, and your first day into the journeying into the Ravenlands seems to go without too much of a hitch. And I guess that's where we're going to end this evening's session.
The band of troubadours sleeping under the stars. Ta-da!
Which is just rock and roll.
Yeah. Our first day of the tour.
Indeed. Who knows what tomorrow may bring.